The dying world, the sky above Planet Valor burned red, not from a sunset, but from the energy weapons that rained down every single day. Commander Vex stood on the command tower, watching another shield generator explode in the distance. His forearms hung low with defeat. "How long until the eastern sector falls?" he asked his officer. 2 days, maybe 3, the officer replied, his voice hollow. "The Ravagers just keep coming. The Ravagers. That's what the Valorians called them. No one knew where they came from or what they wanted. They simply appeared 5 years ago and started destroying everything. World after world fell to their dark ships and terrible weapons. Now Valor was next. Vex had tried everything. The Valorians were an advanced race. They had energy shields that could stop nuclear blasts. They had weapons that could cut through mountains. They had computers that could think faster than any living mind. But none of it mattered. The Ravagers adapted to every defense, overwhelmed every weapon, and broke through every shield. "Sir, the human delegation has arrived," the officer said. Vex's eyes narrowed. Humans. The new race that just joined the galactic community 50 years ago. They were still using chemical rockets and metal bullets. Their technology was centuries behind everyone else. Why the Council sent them here was beyond understanding. "Send them away," Vex said. "We don't need primitives watching us die." "Sir, the Council orders say—" "I don't care what the Council says." Vex slammed his fist on the railing. "We're fighting for our lives here. I won't waste time entertaining backwards aliens who still fight with kinetic weapons," a voice said from behind. Vex turned. A human stood there, tall and lean, wearing a simple gray uniform. His face was young, but his eyes looked tired. He carried no weapons, no armor, nothing impressive at all. "I'm Jack," the human said, extending his hand. "Engineer, Earth Defense Forces. I was sent to observe and offer assistance if needed." Vex ignored the hand. "We don't need your help, human. This is a war fought with technology you can't even imagine." Jack lowered his hand and walked to the railing. He watched the distant explosions in silence for a moment. Then he pulled out a small device, just a tablet computer, ancient by Valorian standards. "How long have you been fighting?" Jack asked. 5 years. "And your strategy?" "Strategy?" Vex laughed bitterly. "Survive. Hold the line. Wait for the Council to send reinforcements that never come." Jack nodded slowly, still watching the burning horizon. "Your shields, they're energy-based, right? Quantum field matrices?" "Of course. The most advanced in the galaxy." "And your weapons?" "Plasma cannons? Particle beams?" "Yes, and laser arrays and fusion missiles and all energy weapons," Jack interrupted. He typed something on his tablet. "And the Ravagers? They use energy weapons too?" "Yes, more powerful than ours." Jack was quiet for a long moment. Then he turned to face Vex. "Commander, with respect, that's your problem." Vex's forearms crossed. "Excuse me? You're fighting an energy war. Both sides. It's like 2 people throwing fire at each other. The one with more fire wins." Jack gestured to the battle below. "But what if you stopped throwing fire?" "That's ridiculous. You want us to fight with sticks?" "Maybe," Jack said seriously. "Sometimes the old ways work better than the new ways. On Earth we learned that the hard way. Our history is full of high-tech armies losing to low-tech enemies who fought smarter, not harder." Vex stared at this human. Was he insane? The Valorians had abandoned primitive warfare thousands of years ago. They evolved past such crude methods. "Commander," an officer shouted from the command center. "The Ravagers are pushing through Sector 7. We're losing the shield wall." Vex ran to the displays. On the screen, dozens of Ravager ships poured through a gap in the defenses. In hours, they would reach the capital city. In days, Valor would fall completely. He looked back at Jack, who still stood by the railing, watching calmly. "You really think your primitive methods can help us?" Vex asked. Jack met his eyes. "Commander, I think you're so focused on winning with advanced technology that you forgot the most important thing." "What's that?" "War isn't about having the best weapons. It's about having the best ideas." Vex looked at his dying world, then back at the strange human who came from a primitive planet far away. He had nothing left to lose. "All right, human," Vex said. "Show me these ideas of yours." The human Jack stood in the war room surrounded by Valorian officers. Holographic displays showed the enemy positions, shield strengths, and weapon placements. Everything glowed with blue light and complex data streams. "Turn it all off," Jack said. The officers looked at Commander Vex in confusion. Vex nodded slowly. The displays went dark. Jack walked to an old-fashioned whiteboard in the corner, something the Valorians kept only for decoration, and picked up a marker. Show me the battlefield. Simple map. An officer projected a basic terrain map. Jack studied it, then started drawing on the whiteboard. His drawing looked like a child's sketch compared to their advanced systems, but he worked quickly. The Ravagers attack in waves, right? Jack asked. Yes, Vex said. Every 6 hours. Like clockwork. And they focus on your shield generators first. Always. Once the shields fall, they destroy everything else. Jack circled several spots on his crude map. So they're predictable. They follow patterns. That's good. Good? An officer scoffed. They've destroyed 15 worlds using those same patterns. Predictable doesn't mean stoppable. Jack turned to face them. On Earth, we have an old saying. If it's predictable, it's preventable. You've been trying to outpower them. Instead, we need to outthink them. He drew lines on the board. Here's what I see. The Ravagers are like a machine. They do the same thing every time because it works. They're strong, so they don't need to be clever. But that's their weakness. Vex stepped closer. What are you suggesting? Stop defending everything. Start defending nothing. The room erupted in angry voices. Vex raised his hands for silence. Explain, he commanded. Jack pointed to the map. Your shield generators are in fixed positions. Easy targets. What if we move them? Make them mobile? Our generators are massive structures. They can't be moved. Then build smaller ones. Temporary shields. Put them on vehicles. Jack drew quick sketches. When the Ravagers come for a position, the shields aren't there anymore. They waste time and energy hitting empty locations. That's insane, an officer muttered. Maybe, Jack agreed. But is it more insane than waiting here to die? Vex was quiet, thinking. Even if we could build mobile generators, what about our weapons? They can't move, Jack smiled. Who says you need those big weapons? The Ravagers have adapted to your energy weapons, right? They know how to block them, absorb them, redirect them. But here's a question, have they ever faced something different? Like what? Jack pulled up an old human military file on his tablet. It showed simple diagrams, explosives, projectiles, chemical reactions. Things humanity used centuries ago. Kinetic weapons, Jack said. Physical ammunition. Explosives that create pressure waves, not energy blasts. Things that work on simple physics, not advanced technology. The officers looked disgusted. You want us to fight with bullets like savages? I want you to fight with whatever works, Jack shot back. Your pride in your technology is killing you. The Ravagers adapted to fight advanced races. But humans? We still remember the old ways. And sometimes old ways surprise new enemies. Vex walked around the table, his forearms crossed in thought. Let's say I believe you. Let's say I waste our remaining resources building your primitive weapons and mobile shields. What's your plan? Jack pointed to a valley on the map. This area. The Ravagers will attack it next, right? Yes, tomorrow morning. Good, we set a trap. Simple one. We put fake shield generators there. Just metal structures that look real. When the Ravagers come to destroy them, we hit them from the sides with kinetic weapons. Explosive charges. Create confusion. Make them think twice. One trap won't win the war, an officer said. No, Jack agreed, but it will win one battle. And one battle proves the concept works. Then we do it again. And again. We make them afraid. We make them uncertain. We take away their biggest advantage, which is? Vex asked. Their confidence. The room fell silent. Outside, another explosion lit up the red sky. Time was running out. Vex looked at his officers, then at Jack. How long to prepare this trap? Give me 12 hours and 50 soldiers willing to try something different. You'll have it. But human, if this fails, you're no worse off than you are now, Jack interrupted. But if it works, you'll have hope. And hope is the first step to victory. Vex extended one of his 4 hands. This time Jack shook it. All right, Jack from Earth, Vex said. Show us how primitives fight. Jack grinned. With pleasure, Commander. With pleasure. Turning point, the valley was silent in the hour before dawn. Jack crouched behind a rock formation with 50 Valorian soldiers. They looked uncomfortable holding the simple rifles he designed, crude metal weapons that fired solid bullets instead of energy beams. This feels wrong, a soldier whispered. His name was Torque, a veteran of 30 battles. I've been fighting for 20 years. Never held something so basic. Basic doesn't mean useless, Jack whispered back. He checked his watch. 5 minutes. Remember the plan. Wait for my signal. Don't fire until they're in the kill zone. In the valley below, fake shield generators stood silent. They were just metal frames wrapped in lights, but from the air they looked real enough. Jack hoped the Ravagers wouldn't notice the difference until it was too late. Commander Vex watched from the command center through a video link. His officers surrounded him, skeptical faces glowing in the screen light. "This is foolish," one officer said. "We're wasting resources on a human's fantasy." "Quiet," Vex ordered. His eyes stayed locked on the screen. The sky began to change. Dark shapes appeared through the red clouds. Ravager ships, 20 of them moving in their usual pattern, straight toward the fake generators. Predictable, just like Jack said. Jack's heart pounded. This had to work. If it didn't, he'd lose whatever small trust Vex had given him. The Ravager ships descended. They moved with confidence, no caution at all. Why would they be cautious? They'd won every battle for 5 years. "They're scanning the generators," Torque whispered, checking his sensor pad. Jack held his breath. Would they notice the fakes? The Ravagers opened fire. Energy beams struck the fake generators, tearing through the metal frames. Explosions bloomed in the valley. The ships moved closer, circling like predators over a kill. "Now they're vulnerable," Jack muttered. "Just a little closer." The Ravager ships hovered directly over the valley floor, confirming their targets were destroyed. They hung in the air, exposed on all sides. Jack raised his hand. "Now!" 50 Valorian soldiers opened fire. The kinetic rifles roared, a sound none of them had heard before. Solid bullets tore through the air at supersonic speeds. They punched through Ravager hull armor like paper. The ships jerked in surprise. Their energy shields activated. But the shields were designed to deflect energy weapons. Solid metal bullets passed right through them. 3 ships exploded immediately. 4 more spiraled out of control, smoke pouring from damaged engines. "It's working," Torque shouted, firing again. By the ancients, it's actually working. In the command center, officers stared in shock. Vex leaned forward, all 4 hands gripping the console. "Impossible," an officer breathed. "Our weapons couldn't scratch those ships." "Because you were using the wrong weapons," Vex said quietly. In the valley, Jack triggered the second part of his trap. "Hit the charges!" Hidden explosive devices detonated across the valley floor. Not energy explosives, simple chemical bombs that created massive pressure waves. The Ravager ships, flying low to confirm kills, were caught in the blasts. Shock waves slammed into their hulls. 2 more ships crashed into the rocky ground. The remaining Ravagers tried to retreat, but Jack had positioned soldiers on the high ridges. More kinetic fire raked across the fleeing ships. One by one, they fell or fled damaged into the sky. In 3 minutes, the battle was over. 15 Ravager ships destroyed or damaged. 5 escaped. 0 Valorian casualties. Silence filled the valley. The soldiers stared at their smoking rifles in disbelief. Torque laughed suddenly, a sound of pure relief and joy. "We won," he said. "We actually won a battle." Jack stood up, checking the valley for any remaining threats. His hands shook slightly, but he smiled. "One battle down. Many more to go." Back at the command center, the officers erupted in excited conversation. Vex silenced them with a gesture. He opened a communication channel to Jack. "Human," Vex said. His voice was different now, respectful. "You did it. You gave us our first real victory in 5 years." "We did it together, Commander," Jack replied. "Your soldiers followed the plan perfectly. They were brave enough to try something new." "What do we do next?" Jack looked at the burning Ravager wreckage. "Next, we teach your entire army to fight like this. We combine your technology with human tactics. We make the Ravagers afraid to attack. And then, Commander, we take the fight to them." Vex nodded slowly. For the first time in years, he felt something he'd almost forgotten. Hope. "Return to base, Jack," Vex ordered. "We have work to do." "Lots of work," Jack gathered his soldiers. As they marched back, Torque walked beside him. "Jack from Earth," Torque said. "I doubted you." "I'm sorry." Jack clapped him on the shoulder. "Don't be sorry. Just be ready." This was the easy part. The real war starts now. Above them, the red sky was clearing slightly. Maybe it was just morning light. Or maybe, just maybe, it was the first sign of change. The final stand. 770 words. 3 weeks passed. The Valorian army transformed. Jack trained thousands of soldiers in human tactics. Factories that once built energy weapons now produced kinetic rifles and explosive devices. Engineers combined Valorian shields with human guerrilla strategies. The Ravagers noticed the change. Their easy conquest had become a grinding war. They stopped their predictable attacks and gathered their forces for one massive assault. Commander Vex stood in the war room, watching sensor data. "They're coming," he said. "All of them. Every Ravager ship in this sector. 200 vessels." Jack studied the holographic display. The enemy fleet was enormous, bigger than anything they'd faced before. "They're angry. We hurt their pride, so now they want to crush us completely." "Can we win against those numbers?" an officer asked. "Not if we fight them directly," Jack admitted. "But we don't have to fight them directly. We just have to make them think we are." He pointed to the capital city. "They'll come here." They always target population centers for final attacks. So we give them what they expect: big shields, obvious defenses, a target they can't resist. "You want to use the city as bait?" Vex's voice was hard. "Empty bait," Jack clarified. "We evacuate everyone to the underground shelters. Make the city look defended, but keep it hollow. When they commit to the attack, we hit them from where they don't expect." Torque, now Jack's second in command, pointed to the mountains surrounding the city. "Ambush positions?" "Exactly. We hide our forces in the terrain. Let them think they're winning. Then we spring the trap." Vex was quiet for a long moment. "This is our last chance. If we fail, valor falls. Our entire civilization ends." Jack met his eyes. "Then we won't fail. Trust me, Commander. Trust your soldiers. They've learned to fight a new way. Now let's show the Ravagers what happens when you underestimate Earth tactics." The next day, evacuation began. Millions of Valorians fled to deep shelters. The city transformed into a ghost town, but its defenses activated at full power. Shields glowed. Weapon batteries moved into position. To the Ravagers, it would look like Valor was making its desperate last stand. Jack positioned soldiers throughout the mountain ranges. They carried the new hybrid weapons: kinetic rifles enhanced with Valorian targeting systems, explosive charges wired to advanced detonators, mobile shield units that could appear and disappear in seconds. "Remember," Jack spoke through the communication network, "patience. Let them commit. Don't fire until they're fully engaged with the city defenses. We get one shot at this." Night fell. The red sky turned black. Then the Ravagers arrived. 200 ships descended like a dark storm. Their weapons blazed, hammering the city shields with overwhelming firepower. The shields held for a moment, then began to fail, exactly as Jack planned. Fake power failures made the defenses look weaker than they were. The Ravagers pressed their advantage. More ships dove toward the city, eager to deliver the killing blow. They bunched together, their formation tight and aggressive. "They're all in," Vex reported from his command bunker. Every ship committed to the city. Jack watched from his mountain position. The Ravager fleet hung over the capital like a swarm of locusts, all focused on destroying the defenses below. They'd forgotten the first rule of warfare: never put all your forces in one place. "All units," Jack said calmly. "Fire!" The mountains exploded with violence. Thousands of kinetic weapons opened fire from concealed positions. Bullets and missiles streaked through the air from every direction. The Ravagers, focused on the city, were caught completely by surprise. Their shields failed to stop the physical ammunition. Ships shattered and burned. Explosions rippled through their tight formation, each blast damaging nearby vessels. "Secondary positions, advance," Jack ordered. Mobile shield units activated across the battlefield. Valorian soldiers charged forward under their protection, firing as they moved. They used classic Earth infantry tactics: advance, fire, take cover, advance again. Simple, effective, devastating against an enemy that never experienced such warfare. The Ravagers tried to retreat, but Jack had positioned soldiers on all escape routes. More kinetic fire cut off their paths. Ships collided in panic. Their organized fleet became chaos. In the city, the failing defenses suddenly powered up to full strength. Energy weapons joined the kinetic assault, catching the Ravagers in a crossfire they couldn't escape. Vex watched in amazement as the battle turned into a massacre. The mighty Ravager fleet, which destroyed 15 worlds, was being torn apart by an army that mixed ancient tactics with modern technology. "We're winning," Torque shouted over the communication line. "We're actually winning." Jack didn't celebrate yet. He kept directing forces, closing gaps, maintaining pressure. But inside he felt relief. The plan was working. 2 hours later, it was over. 140 Ravager ships lay destroyed. 60 fled into space, damaged and broken. The Valorian army stood victorious, weapons still smoking. Jack sat on a rock, exhausted but alive. Torque approached, grinning. "Jack," he said, "you saved our world." Jack shook his head. "No, you saved your world. I just reminded you how to fight." Legacy the sun rose over Valor for the first time in 5 years without the red glow of war. The sky was blue again. Children emerged from shelters and pointed upward, having never seen a clear sky before. Commander Vex stood with Jack on the command tower balcony. Below them, soldiers celebrated in the streets. Valorians embraced each other, crying tears of joy and relief. "How do we thank you?" Vex asked quietly. "You gave us back our future." Jack watched the celebration. "You don't need to thank me. Just remember what you learned. Technology is powerful, but thinking is more powerful. Never forget that." "We won't," Vex promised. "The Council wants to meet you. Every race in the galaxy wants to know how we defeated the Ravagers." Jack smiled slightly. "Tell them the truth. You stopped fighting their way and started fighting your own way." Messages poured in from across the galaxy. Other worlds that faced Ravager attacks wanted help. The Galactic Council, which once ignored humanity as primitive, now sent formal requests for human military advisors. Within weeks, human engineers and tacticians deployed to 12 different worlds. They taught the same lessons Jack taught the Valorians. Combine your strengths with simple solutions. Think creatively and never assume the advanced answer is the best answer. On planet Kess, a human named Marcus helped aquatic aliens use their ocean environments for underwater ambushes. On planet Trell, a human named Rita taught bird-like aliens to use aerial tactics their enemies never expected. On planet Dax, a human named Tom showed rock-based aliens how to use their natural camouflage for guerrilla warfare. Everywhere humans went, victories followed. Not because humans were better warriors, but because they thought differently. They came from a world where survival meant adapting, where warfare evolved through thousands of years of trial and error, where sometimes the simplest solution was the right solution. The Ravagers, confused and defeated at every turn, retreated to the dark edges of space. Their systematic conquest ended. Worlds they attacked now fought back with unpredictable tactics. The machine-like enemy that relied on patterns couldn't handle chaos. 6 months after the Battle of Valor, Jack prepared to return to Earth. Vex came to see him off at the spaceport. Thousands of Valorians gathered to say goodbye. "You changed everything," Vex said. His forearms held a metal case. "This is for you, the Star of Valor, our highest honor. You're the first non-Valorian to receive it." Jack opened the case. Inside was a crystal star that glowed with soft blue light. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll come back," Vex replied. "Say you'll visit us again." "I will," Jack promised. "And maybe next time I'll come as a tourist instead of a soldier." Torque pushed through the crowd. He'd been promoted to general after the battle. "Jack, wait." He carried something wrapped in cloth. "What's this?" Jack asked. Torque unwrapped it, a kinetic rifle, the first one they built together. "Keep it, remember us. Remember that you taught an old soldier new tricks." Jack took the rifle carefully. "I'll treasure it, my friend." As Jack's ship lifted off, he looked down at Valor one last time. The blue planet looked peaceful now. Rebuilding had begun. Cities rose from ruins. Hope replaced despair. On the journey home, Jack recorded a message for Earth Command. "Mission report, Engineer Jack Thompson. The Valorians survived. Other races are requesting assistance. Recommend establishing a human advisory corps for galactic defense. Our tactics, combined with alien technology, create effective hybrid warfare systems. Humanity's role in the galaxy has changed. We're no longer the new primitives. We're the teachers." He paused, then added, "Strange how it worked out. We spent centuries trying to catch up to advanced races. Turns out we didn't need to. We just needed to be ourselves." Back on Earth, the news spread quickly. Humanity, the youngest galactic race, had saved alien civilizations. The species that still used gunpowder and chemical rockets had taught advanced empires how to survive. Human universities created new programs: comparative military strategy, cross-species tactical analysis, adaptive warfare theory. Students who once dreamed of building starships now dreamed of becoming advisors to alien worlds. The Galactic Council formally invited humanity to join the Defense Coalition with full membership and voting rights. The invitation came with a simple message. Your perspective is valuable. Your methods are effective. Your people are welcome. Commander Vex sent Jack a final transmission. The Ravagers are gone from our space. Trade routes reopened. Children play under blue skies. You gave us more than victory, Jack. You gave us proof that survival isn't about having the best technology. It's about having the will to adapt, the courage to try new things, and the wisdom to learn from anyone, even those we once called primitive. Thank you, friend. From all of Valor, thank you. Jack read the message in his apartment on Earth. He looked at the Star of Valor on his shelf, next to the old rifle Torque gave him. Sometimes, he thought, the best way forward is to remember the past, and sometimes the most advanced thing you can do is keep it simple, the end.